Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Media Buff Guys, the podcast about anything and everything media related. I'm your host, Ed, and with me in this episode is Matt. Matt, say hello.
Hi, I just want to speak to everyone about Lord and Savior.
Enough of that. I'm going to cut you off. I could do that right now.
I know like a million deities. I'm going to do that every episode. Omar's going to be creepy and sensual.
Yeah, I'm going to have to.
I need a theme.
I'm going to have to censor you guys. Well, for today's episode, we're going to be talking about a game called Gundam Evolution. Now, if you've tuned into my YouTube channel, you know that it's cluttered with a lot of game footage of it, and then we actually also did an extensive interview of it. The reason we're doing an episode for it today is because as of November 29th, it will be going offline, meaning it'll be shut down completely, so you won't be able to play it again. Now, the reason I wanted to do an episode about this is because this is one game that Matt, me, Omar were not only really happy to play, and we were really stoked to try it out, but we were hoping that we were going to invest a lot of time in it. I know I did, but unfortunately, it just didn't survive, and we're going to go over basically what we feel kind of caused it to fail, and, hopefully Bandai will learn from this experience, and they'll make another Gundam game that doesn't not suck, but that unfortunately ultimately meets its demise. So with that being said, before I continue, I just want to go ahead and mention that this episode is actually sponsored by Target today.
What?
Yeah.
We have a sponsor?
Just for this episode.
How?
Well, I actually put out...
Whose dick did you suck for this, buddy?
Actually put out a message on a message board looking for sponsors, and a representative from Target actually reached out to me. They said that they would like to sponsor this particular episode. Depending on how it goes, maybe we can see future sponsorships from them. So for this particular episode, we're gonna do a giveaway, which is actually our first giveaway ever. And for those tuning in, if you listen into the episode and you listen to the whole way through, you'll get a chance to win a $10 gift card from them. So definitely listen to the whole episode. We'll try to keep it short and sweet. And the winner will be picked we'll figure out a way how we pick the winner, and then we'll go from there and see.
On the next episode that we do,
we'll
know who the winner is.
Yeah, we'll announce it on the next episode.
And then in the meantime, the way we will announce how we pick our winner, we'll do that through Discord. So
yeah, we'll get it through Discord. You can leave a comment there, or you can I'll make it so you can leave a comment below on this episode, which I'll be posting both on Spotify and my YouTube channel. So in order for you to win, just hit that like button and subscribe on either Spotify or my YouTube channel for a chance to win a $10 gift card to Target, which will probably just get you maybe a set of Legos or a Starbucks if there's a Starbucks in there. Either way, so let's go ahead and begin. So Gundam Evolution is a 6v6 first-person combat game. It's classified as a first-person shooter, but the reason I call it a combat game is because it has suits that you can use guns with and suits that use melee attacks.
Yeah, you have melee and...
Yeah, some would call it an Overwatch clone, simply because you pick different types of suits with different abilities, and you can only pick one at a time. So if somebody picks a suit you wanted to use, you have to wait till the next match, or for them to switch in between the match. Each one has its own classifications, like a gunner or a tank or a healer or a brawler, and it derives of different suits from the Gundam franchise.
But mostly universal century suits.
Well, there was 14 suits to begin with. They spanned through pretty much almost every franchise of the game. You had Barbados, you had the original Gundam, Pale Rider, you had Exia. So you started with 14 suits. I believe there's like 18 now, maybe 20 that they released throughout DLCs of seasons.
It's been a while since I played,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, the game was originally announced back in 2022. No, 2020, in July 19. And it was actually released um, in 2022. And then, actually, no, it was revealed on July 2021 and it was released on 2022 with a beta. Then it was officially launched back in September 2022 on PC first, then on console November 30th after that. Its beta was in April of 2020, I think,
I
or
remember
2022.
playing beta and then
Yeah.
giving all that feedback.
Yeah. And like I said, it was a 6v6 combat game with 3 modes: point capture, domination, and destruction. Point capture consisted of both teams fighting over a specific location which moved. Whoever held the position the longest would win, or whoever was able to get the position at a 100% would win. Domination was you had to advance through 2 different points by capturing them. So the first point, you had to capture it and then move on to the next point while the opposing team.
Well, like every
Try
other
to slow you down.
domination, you lose it if the enemy team goes back.
Yeah, the enemy
It doesn't stay locked.
The enemy did have the option to kind of like lower the capture rate, but there was markers depending on how much you held the point for, which were locked, so you couldn't go back on it. And then, if you get to the final point and you capture the target at the end, the opposing team has the opportunity to answer and try to do the same. But if they do it faster than you, they win. Or if they do it with the same amount of time, you go into sudden death, which is a whole other thing. But regardless, the game basically just centralized on team combat. You had to work together. Definitely, chat was definitely important in this game, even though it was hard to do it unless you were in a party. And in order to be in a party, you had to be on the same console.
Mm-hmm.
It did have... I don't think it had crossplay. No, wait, yes it did, but only between PC and console. You couldn't crossplay between PlayStation and Xbox. You could only crossplay between Xbox and PC or PlayStation and PC.
But there wasn't a general chat.
No, it wasn't a general chat. Well, there was. It was just really weird to use it. I remember trying to use it a couple times. It just never worked. The only time I was able to ever chat with anybody is when I was in a party.
Yeah, because we all have PlayStation.
Yeah, we all had PlayStation, and then I did, make a couple of meet a couple of people on the servers, and they added me to their party, and we would team up every now and then. The game was pretty straightforward. You pick your suit, you go into combat, you try to, get to the mission objective, and basically whoever gets that objective wins. Oh, I actually forgot the destruction mode. Destruction mode, fairly similar to point capture, except you had a specific target you had to destroy.
Which is usually like a bomb.
You had to plant a bomb in one of 2 targets. If the bomb would detonate, you move on to another target with 2 targets.
But at the same time, enemy
can come in and disable the bomb.
So either they can wipe your whole squad or disable the bomb and you lose.
Well, I mean, you respawn after 10 seconds, so you had a chance to keep going after the time limit ran out. The only difference is that, let's say you get to the final point and you plant a bomb. Let's say the time runs out, but the bomb is still counting down. The game is still in play. If that bomb goes off within that time frame, you win that round. But if your enemy team disables the bomb, you lose that round, and vice versa.
Oh yeah, it's like a sudden death thing.
Let's say both teams are able to destroy both targets. There is a sudden death. Depending on how fast you do it, that's how much time you have to answer. They usually gave you like a minute extra to do it.
What they call it, overtime or some shit.
Overtime,
like
yeah. Either way, the game was good for people.
What it was.
The game was good for those who had a team to play with. If you had a good coordinated team to play with, you were definitely gonna do well. Not do well, but definitely have a chance to win the match. There were times where me, Matt, and Omar would literally, and I'm not exaggerating, you can go on YouTube channel and watch some of the matches I recorded. We would literally carry the team by ourselves because our team would either try to rack up eliminations, or they would just run around with their chickens with their heads cut off, or they were AFK, which was so annoying because you always hate it when a team member just doesn't participate.
Yeah, because
Like, why play if you're not gonna participate?
And also, you're down a man.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because the game wouldn't let you start against another team unless it was full.
That was one trope in the game that.
But also at the same time, this is like one of the things that kind of I think was the downfall.
We'll get to that too.
All right.
One thing in the game also, let's say you start a match and somebody decides to bail.
I was just about to
the
say
match
that.
would end because you had to have 6 people on each side. But so what we're gonna go ahead and do now, we're kind of just gonna go over what we feel caused the game to fail. In my opinion, one of the big reasons I think it failed is because it's technically a gacha game. It was littered with microtransactions, mostly for aesthetics, which you would think, hey, if you don't want to buy the stuff, don't buy it. You can make that argument, but at the same time, they would lock new suits behind paywalls. Mm-hmm. There were ways to unlock them without spending money, but the grind was so unnecessarily long that it would kind of discourage people from doing so. Or, let me finish. Or they would make it so you were not able to get enough current in-game currency to actually buy that suit. And usually they would give you enough, but only to buy one suit. And almost in every season, they would launch 2 suits that you can unlock by purchasing it with in-game currency. Oh, what were you going to say, Matt?
I was going to actually say, yeah, like with the whole paywall thing and the grind to get those suits, it wasn't exactly hard to do. It was just tedious. Like you said, it was unnecessarily long.
Yeah.
Because, I think any gamer would agree that they would rather do something challenging, like a couple times, versus something mind-numbingly easy, like 100 times over.
Exactly. And one thing the game would constantly have you do, they had different tasks you had to do. One were daily and one were weekly.
Just like any other MMO.
Mm-hmm. The daily ones were fairly simple, but they were only tailored to 3 suits at a time.
Which was lame.
Which was a little frustrating because let's say the suits that are the ones needed to complete that task aren't ones you're good with. You're going to have a hard time just completing that task. And 9 out of 10 times it was either win a match or get a certain amount of eliminations with that specific suit. Which in on its own isn't too difficult, but when you're not used to the suit, it's going to be a little more difficult for you than to somebody who's very proficient with the suit. Mm-hmm. And that's another thing that I think kind of caused the game to fail. The game mechanics in this game were kind of set up that each suit had its own abilities and tropes. However, the learning curve for certain suits was much, much higher than for other suits. And unless you took the time to really learn a suit, you weren't really going to use that suit that much.
But who's going to do that when you're just trying to jump online and play with your friends?
Exactly. And let's say you are proficient with a suit, right? If your internet connection wasn't insanely fast and somebody got that suit before you, guess what? You're not using that suit that match. Unless that person switches within the match, which was one of the options you could do. You could switch suits within the match, but I never saw that happen. The only time it happened is when I did it myself, and that's because I knew my dailies, which suits to use, and I kind of took the time to not become proficient with each suit, but good enough so I knew I could do the tasks fairly easily. And the game was pretty generous on letting you switch suits within that time frame of the gameplay. That let's say you needed to win with like these 3 suits. You can pick one suit that you want to play with, but if you just switch within those 2 other suits and then switch back to your main suit, you would still get the task done for those. That's one thing that I kind of liked about it, but another reason I think the game failed is because of the balancing issues it had, and Matt can attest to that. And again, go on my YouTube channel and just watch some of the matches, and you will see that 9 out of 10 times, unless you had a squad of you and your friends playing with you, it was either uncoordinated or half the time everybody was either trying to rack up eliminations and ignoring the objective.
Also, on top of that, when you talk about the balancing, like, how many times did we come up a team that was just so much better than we were?
I wouldn't call it so much better.
Like, like in most cases with competitive shooters online, whether it's Call of Duty, Fortnite, they usually try to keep you within your skill level.
Yeah.
Like, based on your ranking, right? Like, there's a ranking system for a reason. This seems to ignore that ranking system.
Well, I know it did have...
Because one match, you could go and play against, like, some motherfuckers that, like, eat, breathe, and sleep this shit, and then you get destroyed. Then the next match, you're fighting a bunch of marshmallows, and you just wipe everyone out.
Well, I didn't think it was so much of a skill issue. I think it was more of a coordination issue. And like I said before, if you were playing with randos all the time, and keep in mind, it was usually just me, Matt, and Omar getting on. So that's three of us. And Caesar sometimes. So that's three of us with three randos. Those three randos, I'm sorry, but 90% of the time, they did not know what they were doing. They were either getting one-shotted, or they were running around, or trying to get gun-ho and not playing the objective properly, leaving me, Matt, and Omar to basically carry the team. And there were just times where I don't even know how we were able to get the win, but we did. And it showed. And then there were times where, like, I know for a fact that we could have won the match if it wasn't for the three randos that we were paired with. And that's one of the things, too, about the game. So the game did have a ranking system. You can go from regular pilot to a new type pilot. That's the term they have for, like, an ace pilot. Ace. No, that's what the term they have for...
No, there's a difference between ace pilots and
new type is the highest. New type is the highest rank you can get in the game. But those are what they consider ace pilots.
But there's a difference. Like,
there's bronze, gold, silver, platinum, diamond, and new type. New type is the highest rank you can get in the game. If you were a new type ranked member, they would put you with other teams that were either around that same skill level or lower, which brings me to another point about the matchmaking issue. So let's say you have a new type ranking, or you have a really high win to lose ratio. One thing I saw, or you have a high level in the game. One thing I saw is that they will put you with a lot of either low rank players or low level players. And again, you can go on my YouTube channel, because I record a lot of matches where I'm the only one that's level 50 plus, and everybody else is like level 12. So, it's supposedly part of the reason that was to balance it. Like, you'll get a really good player with a bunch of low level players, but the other team I see, it's nothing but new types. Like, there were multiple times where I saw nothing but new types, and part of the reason I think that happened is because they were all friends. They were all friends playing, and they were all that rank. Mm-hmm. So obviously they would get together and then just get it paired in matches with, like, whoever was available at the time. And because of the match balancing was so bad, they just put somebody who they thought was really, really good that could carry a team with all these also just as good pilots. Which, even though that happened multiple times, I still found myself winning sometimes, which was insane. But at the same time, it's still very frustrating.
Well, yeah. Yeah. And I think, like, going back to the balancing issue, for all those guys that wanted to just run around and shoot shit and get kill ranks, they should have had a team deathmatch or a free-for-all mode. I think, because, like, the limitation to the modes that you can do is another reason why the game is fizzling out.
And that is a very good example, because you're right, there's only 3 modes.
There should be at least 5.
And 90% of the time it was not 90%, like, every time you played the match, it was always random. So unless
you couldn't choose either. You're absolutely right.
The only time you could choose the type of match you wanted to play is if you did a private party, but you had to have 6 players to do that. Now, who here in any gaming franchise or just online franchise has 6 or like 5 friends that you can get on continuously online with at the same time?
That's the key there.
That's the key. Dedicated friends. And I'm sorry, but 90% of gamers don't have that. Not because they don't have friends or friends that want to play or friends that are able to play. It's just that we don't have the time. We don't have the schedule to do that.
We don't have. It's rare when our schedule.
Now these people who were able to get on together, props to you guys. You have a team that is insanely dedicated and makes the time to get together.
Or they all work the same job.
Or they all work the same job.
And they all have the same hours and same days off.
Either way, I felt that they should have given you the option to make a match or get in a match with custom game modes. For instance, Call of Duty, you can play by yourself multiplayer and you can get on different matches. You want to do free-for-all, you can do free-for-all. You want to do team deathmatch, go ahead. You don't need to have a team to do those. You'll be paired with randos.
Yeah.
But you can still do that.
But even in like games like Call of Duty, like I think it's because people
no, I think because they understand that a lot of people just don't have those friends to play with them.
That's where I thought just clicked in. All right, so like for the success of GE I think like they should just copy Call of Duty. Paste.
Honestly,
because how many other games did the same thing as Call of Duty and are just as successful because of it? They followed the formula.
And we had that conversation when we did the extensive review. Also, if you want to check out the extensive review we did like a year ago, which is how long the game has been out, by the way. Mm-hmm. Check it out. We do talk about certain features we feel they should have been done, and one feature actually even Omar was on board with was called the Pick 13. Feature which Black Ops had.
Which one was that? It's been
where you can customize your loadout up to 13 items.
Right.
We knew that each specific suit had specific weapons and deterrents that you could use. Mm-hmm. We felt that they should have done that with the loadouts instead of each suit having its own fixed loadout. Mm-hmm. For instance, Pale Rider was a gunner. You had the grenades, you had the healing, and you just had the gun. But we know that the suits also have other armaments. We know that some suits have laser blades. We know some suits have shields.
Yeah, like with the one from Double O. It was the Exia, right?
Exia, yeah.
Yeah, Exia. The Exia. What was the issue with it? It didn't fully utilize its gun blade.
Well, kind of brings me to the next thing why I kind of feel it failed. The way they had the suits designed, as far as their loadouts go, they didn't really match the aesthetic of how the suit actually operated in its own franchise. Yeah. And like the way you were saying, Exia, it was considered a melee suit with just slashing and throwing knives at it, which apparently, if you ask Omar, was never a thing in the franchise. It never threw a blade at anybody. It had a gun attached to his blade which he could shoot. It wasn't that powerful, but it still had a gun.
Yeah. Or like another excuse me. Or like another issue is that like the Granddaddy Gundam, RX-78, you couldn't use its beam sabers.
No, you couldn't. And
there's been plenty times in the original Gundam show where he uses its beam saber.
Exactly, and that was like going on. That's another issue. A lot of suits just didn't operate the way a lot of players hoped they would, and we thought they would address that because they actually went on. They did forums and they asked players like, "Hey, what would you change about this suit? What would you change about these suits?" And people gave their feedback. And for a while, we thought they were going to listen, but they kept everything the same. They just raised how much damage a suit does, or gave more health to a suit, or lowered how fast a suit.
I thought was unfair.
Which honestly didn't really make a difference, because if someone is insanely proficient with a suit, no amount of buffs or debuffs are going to change that. Like, if that person is good with that suit, they're going to stay good with that suit. Mm-hmm. And I honestly never really noticed the difference, except maybe for the suit Zaku. That's the one guy with the mono eye. And they lowered his ammo clip, and I could definitely tell the difference between the beta and the console edition. Either way, that's another thing kind of felt caused it to fail. We feel like Bandai kind of didn't really listen to the fans, even though they asked us.
Yeah, it was like, kind of like a slap in the face.
They literally went out like, oh hey, for this time frame, we're gonna have these questionnaires you can fill out. Just tell us what you think.
We filled them out,
and we filled them out. Omar, me, you, we filled it out.
Gave them a full essay,
and they even published some of them. You could go on the website and see who put certain answers. Like, oh, this should be changed or this should be added. And they didn't do any of it. Their idea to fix the game was, oh, let's make this suit a little stronger, give it more health. Oh, let's make this suit a little faster. Oh, let's give this suit a little more ammo. That's not going to change it, especially when you have the fans themselves, the players themselves, telling you, change this, please. And they didn't do that, which was just so frustrating.
Yeah, like, if I'm going to play as... I mean, he wasn't in it, but if I was going to play as Death Scythe, I expect him to be quick and have his cloaking ability and like all the shit that makes Death Scythe awesome. Not just swing his scythe around.
Yeah, that's another gripe a lot of people kind of had. Again, the learning curve in some of these suits was a little difficult, and if you put in the time, you could be proficient with them. But again, who has the time? And a lot of players actually thought that melee type suits were kind of not ignored, but they were kind of shafted a little bit simply because, one, they were hard to use.
Unless you're a Barbados. They OP'd Barbados.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's surprisingly easier to counter him. Like, you just got to keep your distance. I personally found that. But I'm saying people who didn't have the time to become that proficient, they just couldn't stand they just couldn't stand a chance using those suits unless they worked at it. For instance, Omar really wanted to main the Exia suit, but the way they had it but the way they had its combat scheme designed was just it lacked a type of Exia feel to it, which kind of brings me to my next thing. The way the suits acted. For instance, the melee ones, they were a lot slower. So in order for you to get a hit with something, it took a lot longer than it probably should because they were a lot faster in the series. And let's say somebody has a full clip and they just mow you down with it, you're not going to get a second hit because you're going to get taken out. And these suits weren't insanely durable. You could get taken out in one shot, especially if you were using suits like the Chim Sniper or the Barbados or even the Zazabi when he threw his heat axe at you.
The Tomahawk.
The Tomahawk, yeah. I mean, each suit had its pitfalls and its strengths, but at the same time, a lot of players kind of said that the melee suits kind of got shafted a little bit, and only those who really, really put in the time to get good with them use them. And were good with them. I myself, I got a little good with Barbados, but that's only because
they ruined my boy.
That's only because I literally found out that you could one-shot enemies with a 1-2 hit combo, and that to me felt cheap. And Matt will tell you, like, I'm the king of cheap.
It is.
But even then,
you'll find the cheapest ways to win.
It was so lame, just like going around doing this 1-2 hit combo every time. Yeah, racking up eliminations, but at the same time, like, that's not Barbados. Barbados is this insanely fast, hit you fast and run. And yeah, you could do that in the game. But at the same time, it felt like...
Well, it wasn't as cool like it was in the anime.
It wasn't like the anime. And I know we're not going to expect them to act like they do in the anime.
A little bit.
But I feel they could a little bit. And one thing...
Also... Oh, I'll let you finish your thought.
One thing I feel like they could have taken a note from was another game they got released shortly after called SD Gundam Battle Mission or Battle Assault. It was another Gundam game, but it was a one-player story-based game where you play as the suits, but they're their chibi forms, the smaller version. If you know Gundam, you know that they have these forms called chibi forms where they're a pint-sized version of it, and it looks like a child. Yeah, it's weird. But I feel like if they used some of the mechanics from that game and applied it into G Evo, maybe that would have kept people a little more enthralled.
What would those mechanics be? Because I didn't play that one. You did. So if you just want...
Well, for one, it was a third-person, over-the-top, kind of like Dota or League of Legends style game, where you could get behind your suit, but at the same time, you can move in a plane, a 3D plane, and basically experience it like you did it in Diablo or those over-the-top RPGs. Okay. But the game was fast, especially with melee combat units, and the combos were fairly easy to pull off. However, and a lot of people make the argument, oh, but that'll make melee suits a little more OP than they already are, and they're already a little OP if you're good with them. But they did make it so other suits that, were a little more long range could deal damage from further away and can stun you, and they had the ability to dash out of the way and just break the distance, so you wouldn't get cornered by the melee attacker or another suit that uses melee attacks. I feel like if they had used certain mechanics like that in that game, I think it would have made it a little easier for players who've never played those kind of games. Granted, if you've played League of Legends, it's not a hard game to pick up, but at the same time, it's not an easy game to master.
That's true.
So, and I feel like that if they had done that with G Evo, yeah, it would have been an easy game to pick up, but there's no reason it wouldn't be a little more difficult to master, especially with different players using different suits and different combat styles, and everybody had their own combat style. Like you had guys that were somehow able to use the gym sniper up close, they were literally right in front of you, and somehow they would still one-shot you in the head.
360 no scope. And
exactly.
Speaking of the headshots, that's something else that annoys me.
Yes, headshots don't matter with robots because
Gundams. First of all, they're Gundams. They're not robots. Headshots don't matter.
Yeah. Because it's just the camera. It's just the camera.
They kind of do because of the you're losing cameras and sensors, but there's also other ones over the body.
If you go on the Gundam Wikipedia, any suit has at least 16 cameras on its person, on its body, on its frame,
and a bunch of other sensors to help
and a bunch
the
of
pilot.
Sensors. And in this game, headshots would take out the suit, which me it made no sense.
Stupid. I mean, how many other suits in the franchise have gone on fighting without their head? A lot.
Yeah, I mean, Granddaddy alone was able to take out what's his face.
His final shot.
Yeah.
One arm missing, everything.
Yeah, but what were we gonna say next, man? What were you gonna say next?
Well, one thing I was gonna say when you were talking about the over the top view and things like that, I think what Bandai should have done is taken a page from Bethesda's book.
How so?
And give the player an option to be in first person or third person.
And
you can't tell me that doesn't work, because it works with Elder Scrolls Online.
Yeah,
and I'm pretty sure there's a few other online MMOs.
Yeah,
where you can switch
you're right.
between third and first person.
No, you're right. And then there's first person shooters that have actually taken a page out of that. Call of Duty has a third person mode now.
That's right.
Freaking Destiny has a third-person mode.
Yeah, and because if I'm going to be a melee character, I want to be in third-person view.
Situational awareness, yes.
Yes. If I'm, shooting...
First person is probably the best.
It is. Because it just feels more natural, because, used to playing Doom and all that.
Or Call of Duty,
shit. Yeah. So, having that option, I think, would also help.
Yeah. A situational awareness to a melee suit or just a melee fighter. Mm-hmm. It's very important, simply because, one, you always want to know what's behind you or who's behind you. Two, since you have no way to retaliate when somebody's shooting you from afar, your best chance of survival is always escape. But let's say you can only see in front of you and you see enemies coming towards you. If there's someone behind you and you retreat back there, you're still screwed. Mm-hmm. With a third-person view, situational awareness comes in play. You can see them coming from the front. You can see them coming from the back. So you act accordingly. Now, if you mess up and go the wrong way, that's on you. But you have that situational awareness to know, okay, I can't go back because I'm going to probably get murked by that guy, so I'm going to go this way instead. But yeah, and we actually talked about that in the review. We said that we felt like the game should have had the ability to go from first person to third person. We covered, we covered a lot.
It was a year ago. I don't remember
of what we wanted. I actually watched it earlier today just to refresh my memory.
Oh.
But we talked a lot about what we wanted in the game, and a lot that we talked about. I'm talking about we're talking about it now again because we feel like if those mechanics were implemented, maybe the game wouldn't have failed. And the other reason I think it failed is because
the paywall.
Not the paywall. This is more on kind of how Bandai treated season pass suits. So every time a season concluded and a new one started, Bandai would announce the suit it would go around it. For instance, the one with the snipers was not Exia, the other one Dynamis.
Dynamis, yeah.
There was a Hyperion one. There was a couple of weird ones, which suits that I don't think anybody asked for. And then, there was even the freaking, I think it was called Ballista with heavy arms.
Right.
Yeah. So every season they had a suit, which, the season was kind of tailored around that suit. So it had a lot of themes for that. One thing I felt that they kind of...
That's another... I'm sorry.
They kind of missed the mark is that when they did that, I felt like they were using suits that nobody had asked for.
Except for the heavy arms. Because heavy arms is fucking awesome, and they fucking made them a piece of shit in the game. Because, it's fucking heavy arms. You don't fuck with them. But
yeah.
Also, the other thing, too, is that the Gundams from Gundam Wing are just a little bit OP compared to the other franchises.
Yeah, but they weren't in the game.
Yeah, it wasn't... I'm just a little annoyed by the inaccuracy of the lore when it was Bandai.
No, I know, I get it. But, a couple of the suits that I felt like that were tailored around the season just didn't make sense. For instance, Zaku Melee, freaking one called Mahiro, which was a grunt suit. I don't mind grunt suits, but at the same time, I was like, who is this guy? I think the only time people were kind of happy to see certain suits was when Unicorn was one of them, New Gundam, Hyperion was also another popular one. Most recently, they released one called Susunawo, and also they released Zeta Gundam, and most recently they released Camphor. These actually, I don't think they're behind a paywall simply because they know it's the end, so they're kind of just giving them to people. You just have to play.
But see, a lot of the suits you just mentioned are all also just from Universal Century of Gundam. Like we only got heavy arms from Gundam Wing. Mm-hmm. We only got the Axia and Dynamis and Barbados from the AC storylines of Gundam. Like, I don't mind Universal Century, but I'm more of an AC fan.
Yeah, the variety of the suits just wasn't. I didn't feel it was there.
Yeah, exactly. They could have added the Gundams from G Gundam, Gundam Wing, Seed.
Yeah, and we
Destiny.
And we talked about all the suits we wanted to see. Heck, we wanted to see the Ball Gundam in there.
Yeah.
We wanted to see the
Tequila Gundam.
We wanted to see all the Wing Gundams, but never happened. Granted, I'm guessing is because they didn't just want to tailor to those tropes, but when the people are asking for it, is it really tailoring when it's being asked for? Like,
no.
I just don't understand. One thing I also forgot to mention, as the game is already drawing to its conclusion, they actually added a new mode called Headquarters, which basically consists of, I would call it sabotage. You have to get to a point in the map where the team has to protect it from damage. And if you damage it to the point of destruction, you win the round. Or if you are able to protect it throughout the round, you win the round. And then, it switches sides. That's one mode they added. I played it a couple times, but I gotta say, I didn't care for it. But one thing I saw was that it was getting played more than other modes
because it was fresh and new.
It was fresh and new, but at the same time, it's like it still wasn't that much fun. Honestly, my favorite one was Destruction. Destruction was my favorite one. I felt that one, if you were well coordinated with your team, and you knew what places to plant the bomb, and you coordinated to protect it, or vice versa, you were gonna. It felt more balanced. It felt more fair. But the other modes, and like you said, they could have added more modes.
That's what they should have definitely done.
Yeah. I'm very broken up about this because I really like this game. Like, if you look at my YouTube channel, I keep bringing up my YouTube. If you look at my YouTube channel, like almost like 75% of it is Gundam. The rest is either Fortnite or my playthroughs or just random clips here and there. But almost all my footage was Gundam related. And now that the game has gone away, I find myself not really posting anything. Because if you follow me on TikTok and on the gram, you see that almost everything I posted of it was about Gundam. Because that's just how much I like that game.
Well, here's the thing, too.
Like, despite of all its issues, that's just how much I liked it. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, like, when was the last time we had a good online Gundam or mech game?
Well, I mean, AC6 is pretty good. I played online a couple times. It was fun.
But AC6 isn't exactly an MMO. It's more a single.
I wouldn't call this an MMO either. Like, it's Gundam,
a competitive shooter.
I call Gundam a competitive combat game. Okay. But at the same time, it is one of those games you can jump in without really needing the friends. You're just not gonna win that much. I'm sorry. Like, you could be the. There were times where I was the MVP in the match and I still lost. And again, go on my.
Fucking Ed.
I'm just saying, like, that's
all
just,
the evidence is on YouTube.
It is. That's just how much I posted about that.
Pics and vids, or it didn't happen.
Exactly.
That's our society.
That's just
today.
how you know that we're not just kind of like complaining, or it's because we weren't good. We're not the best. We knew we weren't the best, and there were times.
But we're at least decent.
And there were
especially
times,
you and I, because we play.
Yeah, shooters. We play shooters,
and not only do we play shooters, but we play Call of Duty. We play Fortnite.
Yeah,
and.
Plus, we work well in a team. But I'm just saying, there were times that we played against a team, and we saw how well they were playing, and we understood, like, yeah, we weren't going to win this match. But there were times where there were teams that were just like, we were mowing over them, but because the other three losers who just didn't know how to pull their own weight,
and then
caused us to lose the match.
Teams like, oh, wait, if we band together
and aim and focus on these three who are carrying them, the other three aren't going to be able to retaliate.
Yeah.
Like, I know it sounds like complaining, but it just again, check out my YouTube channel and see for yourself. There were times when we won matches because we were working together. We were constantly talking, like, enemies on this point, I got two on me, or I need cover, or I need support, or hey, I got my G maneuver. That's their special, by the way, if you haven't played the game. That's their special attack. Either way, it just felt like we almost always carried the team, and half the time we lost because of that. Yeah. Which was so frustrating because we were playing the objective, we were working together, and yet we still lost because the other. And that's one key feature where I think the game kind of failed. Nobody wants to go into a game and lose 15 times in a row.
Exactly.
Even though they are racking up the points, they are doing the objective, and they're working to win, and they even get the MVP, they still lose. But it's sad to see it go. I hope Bandai learns from this, and I hope they kind of take what was good about the game and they apply it to something new and better and fresh.
Yeah, because, I was actually looking forward to this one, just for the simple fact that
we were all looking for it. From the day that it was announced, to the day that the betas were announced, and to the day the game launched on console. We were all insanely hyped for it. We played the beta. We played the console when it came out.
And we thought it was going to be something good.
And we even went on record, we're going to dedicate a lot of time to this, which we did, but unfortunately, it got to the point where we just got sick and tired of leaving. You and Omar fell off right away, like within that first season. I didn't blame you guys because you were seeing it. You were seeing it. I'm like, dude, this game has some major issues. It's not going to survive. And I didn't want to face the facts, but when it got to the second to the last season, which was the Hyperion season, that's when I started realizing like this game has maybe an extra 6 months to go. Yeah, and then they announced it that they were ending services.
Also, early on when G Evo came out, Elden Ring was still fresh.
Hey, don't get me wrong. I played Elden Ring too, but I went back to G Evo whenever I had the chance. Like, I played that game almost day and night, every night, usually to do my dailies and then some of my weeklies.
But what I was going to get at is that when I was playing G Evo, and, like, it was only good when it was just us with Caesar as well. When there's 4 of us versus just the 3 of us.
No, yeah, 4 of us playing the game.
Because we won was a lot more.
We won a lot more
balanced.
Yeah, simply because the other 2, we either use them as cannon fodder,
or sniper bait,
or they didn't hinder us as much.
Yeah.
They're like, 2 people hindering you is not that bad. Like, you could work with that.
But when it's half of your team, you're fucked.
No, you were kind of
like. Elden Ring was still kind of fresh. I'm like, you know what? Instead of playing this shit, I'm going to go play something good.
And that's kind of the reason why I didn't bug you guys so much to play with me. I knew you guys were done with the game after the first season.
This was kind of like Fireteam Elite, Aliens.
No, but we played it through. The only reason we stopped playing is because we played it through.
That's true.
I'm like, we beat that game. We finished it. We were done. We played that game. Like, granted, we could have gone back and played it in the harder difficulty. We could have done horde mode. But honestly, at that point, we felt we had accomplished what we needed to do.
That's true.
And it was fun. It was fun for me. It was short, but at the same time, hey, we went in there, we kicked ass.
I just wish there was a little bit more on it.
But this one right here, like, once it launched the console, we were on it, and shortly after that, you and Omar kind of stopped playing it, but I just kept at it, just hoping it would get better. And
you're a trooper.
The Heavy Arms season kind of brought you guys back, but when you just saw how just garbage the suit was, I'm sorry, dude, it's garbage. Like, I've tried using it multiple times. It can't be done. Gun tank is better than Heavy Arms. That's just sad, dude. That's just sad.
That's a sin.
That's
a war crime.
That's a cinema sin right there. Either way, I'm just bummed that the game is ending. As of recording this episode, the game is set to end November 29th. It's free to play, so if you want to try it out, go for it. It's on PlayStation, Xbox, and Steam.
For the next 6 days.
For the next 6 days, as of recording this. I'm posting this on Sundays, so probably 4 days from here.
Yeah.
Either way, I hope Bandai does, do something better down the line. I know they're doing something called Gundam Verse or something.
Hopefully that's.
I don't know what that is. I honestly didn't really get I don't even want to get my hopes up right now. Like, this is just how sad I am about this game.
Hey, for all this sadness and stuff, at least we have AC6.
Oh no, I'm not.
Thank you, FromSoft.
Like, hey, I'll survive. Like, there'll be another game out there that I'll invest hours and hours on end with it. Like, I can always go back to Fortnite. God knows I invest a ton of time and money on that. But I don't know. Like, I know Omar was really excited about this game, but I felt like this was a game that I could have seen myself playing almost forever, because that's just how much I liked it.
If they followed the Call of Duty formula,
I really think that would have been better.
I hate to say that, just because I'm kind of tired of the Call of Duty formula.
But it works. How many Call of Duty games are there now? Like 15?
Yeah.
And they all sell millions of copies.
But
Even this most recent one, garbage. Yeah. Still sold over 1 million copies. Day one.
Because people fucking eat it up. For whatever reason.
Because it's satisfying. It's satisfying to murk somebody on the other side of the map. It's satisfying to get somebody with a grenade at the end of the match.
But also, I don't think people are really playing those games anymore for the story.
Oh, now it's for content. You're like, if you go on TikTok, you go on IG, you go on YouTube, there's nothing but shorts of people like doing stupid kills with the game and whatnot.
And like stupid.
I mean, the competitive field is still there, but I feel like Gundam. I wanted Gundam to be that. I wanted Gundam to be,
but not super like that. I mean, make it like follow the formula. Like, give us more options,
but throw in your own.
But put in your own spin on it, because the formula works. Like, I hate to say it, but it works.
Yeah, no, and at the same time, the community was very supportive of the game. The community was very thrilled and had fun with it.
Fucking particular Gundam fans
are. My god, yes. Which is why when certain suits were released, you just saw Gundam fans just lose it. Like, why are you releasing this suit? Nobody asked for this. They would even have polls. What suit do you want next? Like 90% of the time it was a unicorn suit or a wingsuit. But, I mean, nothing even close to that.
Then you got the Zaku too.
Like, they get the Zaku melee or the Mahiro or whatever. I'm like, dude, nobody asked for that. And Bandai would go on record, we want to diversify. Nobody asked for diversity, man. Like,
Bandai knows exactly what people want.
A fan knows what they want. No, a fan knows what they want.
But also, like,
Bandai clearly didn't know what they wanted.
What is Bandai's biggest cash cow when it comes to Gundam? The unicorn.
Yeah, the unicorn, yeah.
Me personally, I don't like the unicorn.
Yeah, there's like 5 perfect grades for it.
I don't see the appeal to the unicorn.
I see the appeal. I just don't care for it.
But, like, people like it.
Yeah.
To each their own.
No, yeah, for
fucking sure. Bandai, you know this. It's like one of the highest selling kits that they have for Gunpla.
Yeah,
like,
and somehow they only had one unicorn suit in there. I'm surprised they didn't have the Destroyer or the Phoenix. Either way, that's our rant for this one. Again, if you want to check out the game, you have like 3 days to do so. Probably should have done it sooner. We should have done it sooner.
I have a quick question though.
Well,
me personally, I'm not gonna hop back on because I'm not gonna wait to download it and play it.
Yeah, I already deleted it.
Are you? I was gonna ask. Are you gonna play it one last time?
I mean, no. Like, I already deleted it. I think I let it go, and I can give you the exact date when I kind of let it go because it was my last clip that I posted online.
Back to YouTube.
No, not even on YouTube, on TikTok. It was on April 16, Jen's birthday. That was the last time I posted gameplay footage of it on my social media. After that, it was like random crap.
So what was it? Like roughly 6 months ago?
Yeah, about 6 months ago. Yeah. But again, hopefully they'll do something good with it. For those who listened in, thank you. If you want a chance to win your the $10 gift card, just
hit us up on Discord.
Hit us up on Discord. If you're watching this on YouTube, like, comment, and subscribe. If you're listening on Spotify, like the episode, subscribe to the podcast. I'll leave a comment, or not a comment, or a poll on the comment section of the episode where you can leave a comment saying that you subscribe, and we'll go ahead and pick, and then come next episode, which will be on the 10th of December, we'll announce the winner, and then we'll kind of go how you can claim your prize. But with that being said, again, thank you for tuning in. We definitely appreciate it, and we will talk to you again soon. Say bye, man.
Ciao.